What's up, guys? It's Jenna again. Today I got a little story time for you, so let's just jump right into it. Okay, this story is about rehab, spiritual warfare, the devil, fighting the devil, dealing with people. Yeah. So, anyways. When I was 17, I had just gotten saved, like not too long before this period of time. I got saved at a youth group when I was 16, and I'm seeking the Lord at this time of my life. I'm praying, I'm going to multiple churches, I'm reading the Bible, I'm associating with, people who are like me, know the Lord, but I'm still confused. I'm still kind of stuck in various sins. I wanted to quit smoking weed and drinking. I was really addicted to weed and really addicted to drinking. I'd gotten kicked out of my school, and I was at this alternative school, and I met my really close friend, just call him Billy Bob, and we were wilding out at the time in that summer, and I had friends from church. I was faithfully going to a few churches for just for friends, but I was still, I think I even had like a girlfriend at that time. Or maybe that was a little before. No, yeah, I was still sexually confused, and, I had just a bunch of stuff going on. I was depressed, I was on pharmaceuticals, but I was having a good time, I was just spending the summer with my friend. He was teaching me, he actually liked me. He was teaching me, guitar, he was helping me with math, he was, we got pretty close, and we would talk about, the stuff that we were going through. And I had another close friend who was a girl. I hung out with her a little bit. But I was also in this outpatient rehab at the time, which is something that, it's a rehab, program that you don't check yourself into, you don't live there, because I wanted to quit, but I wasn't court mandated. A lot of people there were court mandated. I ended up meeting people who were just bad influence on me. And we would go to groups, and you have a counselor, and you take UAs, and you talk about your problems, and you check in, and I was still smoking weed, and right in front of my other friend. He didn't smoke weed. I'm glad I didn't get him started. But I was just really struggling. I was hurting, and there was a lot coming against me at that time I feel like because I was so hungry for God, and my mom was back in my life, and that was difficult, but yeah, I was drinking, and one day I was having a really good time at my friend's house, and we had a really good few days together, and then I basically the next day, all hell broke loose, and I'm arguing with my family, and I'm on pharmaceuticals at the time, so I'm really putting in an effort to try to get better and praying to God to get better. And I was mad at God. I shook my fist at God. I had some moments with God, and then I, had something really stupid that ended me up in the hospital. And my grandma basically said, "All right, that's it. You got to get help while I'm in the hospital, and I'm coherent enough to sign this paperwork. They're you can't come back unless you get help." So I'm just whatever, it's not. I was kind of relieved in a way, because I wanted something different, and I'm just fresh out the hospital. And I go back home, and the night before I'm supposed to go to this rehab, I had ended up getting prescribed codeine, which is an opiate. Rappers put it in their drink, like it's yeah, lean, dirty Sprite, which is crazy. Like, I don't know, I just had like a cold and they ended up prescribing me that, which I think was supernatural. Like, the devil was kind of like, here you go, like. But anyways, I decided to chug a bottle of that the night before as I'm packing, and I'm like sitting in a dark room, like drooling on myself from like all this opiates in my system. Like, I just remember sitting upstairs in my house, just like literally like high. I mean, it felt really good, but I remember my cat was there and I was just out of it. So anyways, I'm high that night as I'm packing, and the next day we drive 7 hours up to Northern Oregon to a little rehab facility where I would be spending the next 3 months of my life. I go in for the intake, like I'm arguing with my mom a little bit, you know, and my grandma, and they're just I'm answering these questions, and like I remember going in and like seeing some of my counselors, like seeing all the kids my age, and like I remember this girl was like kind of going off. She was like singing, she was like, LOL, smiley face. And I was like, who is this chick? Like, I knew I wasn't gonna get along. We ended up having some problems. And I remember like that was the day we could get milkshakes. Like, I remember I got this like huckleberry milkshake. It was amazing. And then I remember like a guy on his guitar, he was singing Wagon Wheel, and I'm just like, I'm gonna be living with all these girls I don't know. And there was like a boys wing, and I remember I saw one of the counselors, and her and I ended up being really good friends. I really liked her. I thought she was awesome. Like, I wish I would have stayed in touch with her, actually. But anyways, I remember like there was like wind down time, and like we could watch Netflix, and I picked something on Netflix that girl who was singing didn't like, and she got all mad at me, and like, you know, I remember like getting in fights. I got in a fight with this one girl because, or like these girls just wanted to show me, like, I was still very shy, and they were kind of like, this is, you know, I've been here for this long, and yeah, whatever. Like fighting with me about towels, or, you know, it's hard when you have these young, emotional teenage girls, you know, and they're used to having that vice. Like, there were girls that, one thing I don't like about rehab is it exposes you, because I was just in there for alcohol and weed and cough syrup, but it exposed me to, you know, people who were doing heroin, people who were shooting up, and meth, and I mean, no judgment, I understand, drugs are drugs, but it was just like, I learned so much stuff that I just didn't need to know, you know. It's rough. I ended up having some relationships in there. I had an incident where I was flirting with this guy, let's call him Frederick, and Frederick was like really hyperactive and like ADD, and people didn't like him because he was always interrupting the AA meetings, and he didn't care. He was court mandated, because there's a lot of people who court mandated, or their parents forced them to go there, and they don't want to be there, and it's a hard place to get used to. And, you know, he's all over the place and flirting with me and saying that he's gonna come, you know, down to the girls wing, because there's a boys wing and there's a girls wing, and I didn't think he would do it, you know, and he ends up like walking all the way down to the girls wing, which is really like a no-no, and he got in so much trouble. He just opens the door, and he's like, he sees that I'm not alone, like I have a roommate. He's like, oh, your roommate, and like he just closes the door, and like he got in a bunch of trouble. He got arrested. And, you know, I had I don't even know if I want to go into that. That's maybe another story. But God was really had his hand on me. You know, I got to minister to people, talk to them. You know, I would always tell people how much I loved Jesus, and I got to, you know, talk to people about Jesus, and I got to lead a meeting one time, and I'm pretty sure, like, I feel like the devil just got really pissed off because I was just really ministering to people and saying how much better my life was now that I had God. And I definitely had some adversity where I was very tempted to be in relationships that I shouldn't have been, be distracted. Because when you go into a place like that, it's really a time for you to focus on yourself, to heal, to overcome, to use the coping skills, to do the paperwork, and to just find out who you are. And there's always people, you know, who are there for the wrong reasons, who want to distract, who want to divide, who want to speak ill will. And I ended up being roommates with a girl who just was not a positive, happy person. I was trying my best to be this uplifting, positive person to change, and I was finally gaining confidence back. That all this confidence that I had lost from, you know, just smoking weed, it just made me a total introvert. And I was finally, you know, everybody really liked me, just about. And I was roomed with this girl who was just the opposite of me, very negative. She literally couldn't poop for a week because she was so uptight. I feel really bad for her. Like, I felt bad, poor girl. No hate to her, but she wasn't very healthy for me, and we just ended up, for some reason, making a contract to Satan because we thought, like, it was funny. And, you know, it really did change something spiritually. I was just appalled. And we wrote out this contract, like, now that I would think about, like, us doing that, I'm like, why didn't I write to, like, escape from the facility? But, I just wrote, like, oh, I want all this money and drugs and stuff, and it was stupid. But I met a lot of beautiful people. Like, some of our counselors, like, were Christian, and, you know, the people, because we have to basically have babysitters, like, watch us on shifts, and, you know, escort us to lunch and escort us to our meetings and stuff. That's just how it is, you know, you're constantly under surveillance, and you're living with all these girls. And it kind of sucked because, you know, you're eating, bathing next to these girls, you know, talking to them. You're constantly around each other, and you form a very close bond. And then, you know, they get discharged and they complete or they graduate, and you don't see them again. It's kind of a hard thing, you know, because you have all this bonding, all this stuff in common, and then, you know, you help them through their romances, and you lament that you miss your family and stuff, and then one day, you know, you leave and that's it. And I got to confess some deep things, some deep secrets I was hiding. I just pulled one of the girls aside, and I was able to kind of, like, get stuff off my chest, like, and there was, like, God sent me, like, a mother figure who really loved us. She went out of her way to help us and to have fun with us. Like, I'll never forget her. She was the sweetest lady, and I always loved when she was around. And I had a really close friendship with another one of the counselors, who I really admired, like I mentioned earlier. And I just kind of got to see, like, just get to know people and you know, be better acquainted with people, because I grew up an only child, so I learned how to socialize and how to have better discernment about people. And, you know, I got to plant seeds about Jesus, and it's just a very spiritual time, you know. I saw one girl, she would come hang out with me and talk to me about Jesus and say that she would, you know, she accepted God, and then she kind of switched the next day, and it was just so crazy to see how different she acted. And but anyways, before I stayed for about 3 months, and I was supposed to graduate. I really wanted to leave because one of my favorite counselors was leaving, and I had just got my heart broken because I was in a romance and the person I was romancing with, they left and got arrested. They were really crazy. But I was just sad. I was depressed. I didn't want to be there. I didn't think it would get better. But I think I was supposed to stay because I ended up trying to run away right before, and I stole my inhaler because I have asthma, and I put it in my back pocket, and they found out that I did that, and I ended up not graduating and just completing. And I think I was supposed to stay for another month. I mean, you can do that, and I didn't. I was just kind of tired of it, But I think if I would have stayed, I would have, because as soon as I got out, I got negatively influenced, and I just went right back to my old ways, Because it's like they give you all this paperwork, they give you, they say use your coping skills, do this, do that, and it's really spiritual. I mean, you can stay distracted, but until you get that spiritual healing, I guess what I did learn was some discipline, because you got to get up at a certain time, you have to clean your room, you have to take a shower, you have to, go to your classes, or else, you're going to get in trouble or get kicked out, or, whatever. So, yeah, that was a time where I was really happy in some areas, and some days I was just really sad. And I got involved in some things, like if I could go back, I would just try to focus on God and myself, and just being happy and being a good example, and and not really getting sucked into all the other BS, because there's always politics, and I kind of regret. I remember there was this one kid, he really thought I was so cool, and I thought that he wrote something stupid on a piece of paper and about girls, and I just got really offended and cussed him out, and he just never forgave me after that, which sucked. And so yeah, I went through a lot. And so there was that, all that growing, all that, God was working, and I was getting better. And then right after that, I just went back to my old ways, and it was like the darkest time. My senior year of high school was it just sucked. I was just miserable and alone again, and just because I isolated myself from the drugs and stuff. Because I was finally starting to bloom, to come out of my shell, to, just like socialize. And then it was just like, went back to drugs. All that was just, I digressed. So I learned, stick it out. I learned a lot of coping mechanisms. I learned to relate to people, and if you have the chance to go to rehab, and you feel like you need it, do it. You can meet a lot of wonderful people. Not that that's what it's about, but you should go and just focus on yourself and get that's really, it's kind of, a time for you to be selfish and figure out why you're using, and get close to God. And I was really close to God at that time, and read your Bible and stuff. Like, that's what I would say to my younger self. But I'm glad I went. It was a lot of pain, but it was also a lot of happiness, and I think I did affect a lot of people at that time. And yeah, so that's basically what I have to say about my time in rehab. Now that I look back, God's fingerprints were all over it, but it was a rough place to be. People come in all skinny and sucked in like on meth, and then they start eating more regularly and gaining weight. And I was actually in really good shape. We would go to the gym, and I was working out a lot. I was getting really good at basketball. I was really artistic, and I had time to just find myself, find what I liked, and it was really cool. So I guess part of the reason why I'm making this video is to just it's kind of for selfish reasons, I guess, like a video diary to just kind of get it up, but maybe you can relate. I guess the lesson in this is, if God gives you an opportunity, you know, to get better, embrace it and just love yourself and be healed. You know, just kind of, you love other people, you want to help them, but it's okay to be the patient sometimes. It's okay to receive help, you know. So anyways, that's all I have to say. I don't really know what else. And God will answer your prayers, and you might go through a whole bunch of crap, you know, I've learned about these things called catalysts, which are these big, huge, like, events, dramatic events that happen before change. And if you look back on your life, you can see, you know, all the big dramatic things that happen. Something good, some kind of change comes afterwards. So, you know, you start praying to God, you know, help me get sober. You know, He might make you go to rehab. And He taught me so much beautiful things through sobriety. Sobriety is an amazing, wonderful thing. And ever since then, I've been trying to get sober and stay sober, and until now is when I've been getting stronger and stuff. So anyways, I'm gonna stop talking. I know I'm dragging on. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and hit the little notification bell. I post videos a lot, and love you guys. Thank you so much for your support and your wonderful comments. I'm here for you. If you need anything, leave me a comment, and yeah, have a wonderful day, guys. God loves you. I love you. Bye.